Gemstones and how to identify them. Oh, here we go. Gemstones include any number of crystalline rocks, which, when cut and polished, can be used as jewelry. Their commercial value usually depends on how rare they are, although beauty is certainly a factor as well. Because gemstones are more often than not found by accident, it behooves prospectors and even farmers to be able to recognize them, for the earth holds many natural treasures, but only for those who know what to look for. Quartz is one of the most abundant minerals on Earth. Crystalline quartz is a composition of 6-sided prisms which have grown together in a process called twinning. Sometimes 2 crystals grow at right angles to each other, but more frequently, 2 crystals grow from a common prism face, or several crystals grow into each other so that the corner of one penetrates the face of another. Amethyst. Emily! Crystalline quartz that is lilac to deep purple in color. The deeper the color, the more valuable it is. How do you read this? Citrine? Closely related to amethyst. In fact, if amethyst is heated to 550 degrees centigrade, it becomes citrine, for the heat eliminates the impurity that causes the purple coloration. What? Really? If you heat up an amethyst, if you cook an amethyst, it becomes a citrine? Tiger's eye. A fibrous type of crystalline quartz in which thin yellowish and reddish brown bands are apparent when light reflects off its polished surface. Crazy. Yeah, that's cool. Diamonds. Pure carbon, formed deep in the mantle of the earth where extreme temperatures, more than 1,000 degrees centigrade, and extreme pressure 50,000 times greater than on Earth's surface, make its crystal extremely compact and strongly bonded, hence diamond's well-known hardness. That's why we cut glass with it in hogs. Due to their hardness, low-quality diamonds have many industrial uses, such as for grinding wheels and drill bits. Oh, yeah. Magma brings diamond crystals to the Earth's surface, along with other rocks from the mantle. These kimberlite pipes often contain olivine, garnet, and zircon, as well as diamond. When gem hunters spot any of the indicator minerals pictured below, they would do well to search the surrounding area for diamond crystals. Oh, and that's like Minecraft. Oh my god. So many games and I'm like, oh. Tourmaline comes in so many colors that it probably has at one time or another been confused with all the other stones in this book. However, tourmaline crystals are deeply and distinctively striated, grooved, prismatic stone, and triangular in cross-section. The most common color is black, but some tourmaline crystals are multicolored, such as watermelon tourmaline. Oh, that's so pretty! Pink on the inside and green on the outside. Beryl, a very diverse mineral with several gemstone varieties. Common beryl is an opaque, milky green, while its rarer gem varieties are transparent. All varieties form long hexagonal prismatic crystals, which are similar to tourmaline crystals, but lack tourmaline's characteristic striations. Aquamarine is the blue-green to deep blue variety of beryl. Okay. So that's a deeper color. Milky green and then blue-green to deep blue is aquamarine. While most gemstones form relatively small crystals, aquamarine has been known to form crystals weighing more than 100 pounds, although such specimens are rare. More than 100 pounds? It's like 40 kilos. That's heavy. Emerald is a deep green variety of beryl, which gets its color from trace amounts of chromium. Emerald gemstones tend to contain extraneous matter. Indeed, the source of the stone can sometimes be pinpointed by examining its impurities. A garnet. That just puts me... I see emerald and I'm like, okay, Stardew. I see garnet and I'm like, okay, Resident Evil 4. There's so many games that I'm like thinking of with these stones. Garnet is a relatively common gemstone because garnets often appear in their host rocks as almost perfectly faceted crystals. They have attracted human attention for centuries. Unlike other gemstones, garnet forms relatively spherical crystals that are generally reddish in color and look somewhat like pomegranate seeds. I don't know my fruit. A pyrope? Garnet crystals are deep red. They form in the Earth's mantle and are brought to the Earth's surface in much the same way as diamond crystals. Therefore, finding pyrope increases the likelihood that diamond can be found in the vicinity. Peridot is the most well-known form of olivine. So many words I don't know. Its bright apple green crystals are thick and vertically striated, with wedge-shaped terminations and an oily luster. Most peridot is found amid basaltic rocks, Minecraft, which have been brought to the Earth's surface by lava. Corundum. Is that what it says? Or aluminum oxide is second in hardness only to diamond, and as a component of the black magnetic rock known as emery, has been mined and used for thousands of years as an abrasive. Its crystals are commonly six-sided and barrel-shaped with tapering ends and are, when pure, colorless. Corundum is colorless. Oh. Rubies are one of the two gem varieties of corundum. Rubies are deep red and are formed with chromium substitute for aluminum as corundum crystallizes. Sapphires, ooh, pretty. Sapphires include all the other color variations of gem corundum and may be pink, yellow, green, blue, or colorless depending on which transitional elements, such as iron and titanium, influence the crystallization process. Zircon is the gemstone that is gemstone quality rivals diamond in its beauty and brilliance, though not in hardness. Zircon crystals are typically prismatic with pyramidal ends and are usually found as single specimens. They may be suspended in rocks, or because they are dense and durable, small grain-like crystals are often found in beach placer deposits. Natural gemstones are usually reddish brown, but when subjected to heat, they turn yellow, colorless, or blue. Very interesting. Can I take this book home? I would like to read it later. Thank you.
The Little Book of Samplers.
Ooh. Oh, the sampler thing, yeah. Surely there is no greater joy for the 19th century woman, young or old, than to bring a piece of linen to life with needlepoint. There is literally no greater joy for a woman, requiring only needle, thread, care, and imagination. The word sampler comes from the Latin word exemplum, which means example, that which serves as a model. The best samplers not only allow their creators to recall what particular embroidery stitches look like when executed properly, but also demonstrate to the world their mastery of an important womanly skill. Indeed, many a gentleman's head has been turned and many a marriage fortified by a well-crafted sampler. Oy vey. It is acceptable in these modern times for samplers to take many forms. One classic is the long and narrow band sampler, which features bands of flowery border design as well as rows of numbers in the alphabet. Another classic is the spot sampler, a delightful display of randomly placed images or motifs. Most motifs are naturalistic objects that have specific meanings in the language of samplers. Here's a list of common motifs and their meanings. Pineapple hospitality. A cat is idleness. I'll just take a picture just in case. Nowadays, most samplers are colorful variations on the two classic styles and are largely decorative in nature. Houses, schools, churches take center stage in some. In others, mottos, verses, and important dates are featured. There is an alarming trend among some sampler makers to use only one stitch, the simple and rather plain cross stitch. It behooves, again, these women. What is behoove? To remember that nothing catches the eye like variety, nor holds the heart like a multi-talented seamstress. Oh, makes me angry. Okay. Dear Jake, I have sent you 2 lamps which you should receive by the end of the month. When you get them, simply place carbide in the lower chamber, water in the upper chamber, and then use the built-in flint lighter to ignite the jet of gas, which results. As you'll see, the carbide lamp is an exceedingly practical device, especially for people in your dark and dangerous line of work. Would that you or I had invented it. In your last letter, you sounded quite despondent, old chum. I suppose this is understandable in view of your failure to strike it rich, but I am living proof of how quickly misfortune can turn into good fortune. Little did I suspect 5 years ago that my attempt to produce aluminum would... It keeps throwing me off that they say aluminum and not aluminium. Would instead produce calcium carbide, or that calcium carbide, when placed in water, would release acetylene. Yet suddenly I was this surprised but happy owner of the patent for an inexpensive way of manufacturing an extremely flammable gas. Just as I became wealthy when I sold that patent, I have no doubt that you, too, will someday be handsomely...
Always your friend, Thomas Wilson.
Thomas Wilson! Rewarded for your efforts. Continue... Oh, I thought it was... Never mind. I confused it. Continue to keep me apprised of your adventures, dear friend, and never ever give up. May the lamps I sent you soon light your way to the gold you seek. Welcome to Ryokan Hiei, where you will experience traditional Japanese culture and hospitality at its finest. Located near the base of majestic Mount Hiei, our ryokan has been offering a relaxing stay to guests since the 1700s. Ease away the day's travel with a calming soak in the hot springs. Ooh, yes. The entrance is located on the first floor hallway across from room 7, with open times changing daily for men and women. Showers for pre-washing and towels are available in the baths. For guests wishing to visit more of Kyoto, the local Misawa station offers rail access to downtown. Popular tourist sites always include the Pachinko Parlor at Kure or the Exposition Center currently hosting the Technology of Tomorrow Expo at Matsue. It is suggested that guests pre-purchase their Fasca train tickets before arriving at the ryokan. Front desk is open from 7 a.m. to 1 a.m. daily. God, those are some long opening hours. To help with any additional needs, thank you for choosing Ryokan Hiei. Welcome home. Ooh, that's nice. Ghost Stories of Japan, Volume 3. Ooh. Okiku and the 9 Plates. Near the gates of Himeji Castle is an ancient well said to be haunted by a ghost of a heartbroken woman named Okiku. Before her death, Okiku was a beautiful servant who worked for a respected samurai. The samurai quickly fell in love with Okiku, but she had no interest in her rich and powerful employer. The samurai soon grew tired of Okiku's spurning of his advances and concocted a plan to win her affections. Okiku was tricked into believing that she had broken one of the samurai's 10 prized plates. Fearing for her life, Okiku told the samurai what had happened, begging for his mercy and forgiveness. The samurai agreed to spare her life in exchange for her love. When Okiku refused, she was thrown into the Himeji Castle well to drown. According to legend, Okiku's betrayal was so great and her grief so strong that her spirit cannot leave the dark confines of the well. I think I've been to that well. At least not during the day. At night, yeah, I've been to Himeji Castle. I remember a ghost in a well. Like reading a story about it. There's probably like a little sign next to it. At night, it's said that her spirit springs forth from the well and calls out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 before being pulled back down the well by an unseen force. Spirits counting has led many to believe that Okiku is forever trapped in that dreadful moment when she discovered the samurai's missing plate, knowing that its absence would cost her her life. Damn. Some say Okiku's ghost was finally released from the well when a neighbor loudly called out 10 during her nightly haunting. Other less optimistic tellings say that her spirit is still trapped within the well, forever living out that terrible last moments of her betrayal. Yeah, I think I've been there. Kyoto Famous Gardens Visitor Guide. Oh. Ryoanji! Yeah, I've been to Ryoanji. Nestled in the northwest corner of Kyoto sits Ryoanji. I used to live really close to there. I lived right next to the Golden Pavilion, Kinkakuji. It is here visitors can rest and contemplate the mystery of one of the most famous Zen rock gardens in the world. The collection of 15 irregular stones on a bed of gravel that makes up the garden is not only World Heritage Sites, but it is considered by some to be one of the greatest masterpieces of Japanese culture. The art of kare-sansui, dry landscape gardens, is filled with symbolism, but the beginner can gain a better appreciation of the garden with a little knowledge. There are 5 basic stone types that are used as single stones or in combinations to give different meanings to each arrangement. Okay. Ryoanji is really cool. What I always liked about Ryoanji is that it's a collection of 15 stones. So it's like an inner garden. Like you can see like the garden, and then around it is like a wooden walkway basically that people can also sit and just look at and admire the garden. And it's just like gravel and rocks. And then they put like a nice pattern in the sand. But you can never see all 15 at the same time. No matter where you sit, you can always only see 13, maybe 14, because they're always like obscuring each other in some way, which is really cool. So there's 15, but you can never see all of them from one position, which is always fun to like mess around with a little bit, like sit in different positions and try and see them. Once the rocks are placed in the desired arrangement on the gravel, rakes are used to create lines in the gravel symbolizing water. Completed kare-sansui is then ready for the viewer's contemplation. Puppets have been entertaining audiences for millennia. Only a light source, 2D cutout puppet, and a screen on which to project the shadow. Screen door. The puppeteer brings to life whole stories told in silhouette. Performance art is believed to have originated in China during the Han Dynasty to console the emperor who had recently lost a beloved lady. While traditional shadow puppets were made of leather with rods of wood and bone, you can make your own puppets with more basic materials. Dear Marianne, as usual, these letters are piling up and I haven't made it to the post office. It was great seeing you during your visit. Hurry back soon. Now I promise to make my way over to the States, but life always has other plans. The girls are keeping me busy and the ryokan is double booked as usual. Yumi wanted me to tell you that she had a nice time during your visit, although it would be hard to tell with her pouting for the cheap seats the whole time. She and Miwako have been at each other's throats lately. It's ugly. I hope it's a phase, but I'm beginning to worry that it might not be. Cassie and Ben are such good friends. I wish I knew your secret. They're so different, you know. They remind me of you and me when we were kids. You were always so serious, and I was always doing my best to get you in trouble. I think that's what made us such good friends. But for the two of them, it's always a battle. Enough of that. Send my love to the family, and I can't wait to see you again. So, Kasumi. Dear Marianne, it's finally winter. You'll be here in a few weeks, and I might just end up giving you this letter in person. Sorry. It snowed for the first time last night. It's always my favorite night of the year. Miyoko and Nentaro came in the house looking like a couple of snowmen. We had hot tea by the fire, and for a full 10 minutes, Nentaro was too cold to talk. That was really nice that he couldn't talk. It had been a while since I'd spent any time around Miwako, and for once I caught her in a chatty mood. She's gotten so quiet lately. She's been like a shadow wandering around the house. But last night she was back to the funny, goofy girl I remember from not long ago. Then, you won't believe this, Yumi came in and joined us on her own free will, and then my mother came in, and we all played a game. No one was forced to join in, there was no bickering. Nentaro didn't even have a freak out over the rules midway through. It was like a gift from the universe. I knew that in the morning we'd be back to the bickering, complaining, the moody silences, but it didn't matter. One night like that is worth years of near misses. Damn. Ryokan Hie. Japan to a girl who grew up barefoot on the front porch of a creaky old house in Savannah is just about the most exotic place there is on earth. Wait, what's her accent again? The super southern one? Sometimes in the middle of a stormy night, when the wind is whistling and the tree branches are scratching at the windows, I feel like I'm back at the Ryokan Hie. On those nights, I often wish I'd never visited that charming nook on the outskirts of Kyoto. Second I stepped into the ryokan's gate, I suddenly understood why I had been called in. For those of you who have never been in a haunted place, the feeling is unmistakable. Imagine the sensation of taking a rickety roller coaster through a dense fog. Now multiply that tenfold. The atmosphere inside the ryokan, however, was even thicker. The inn was washed in an unearthly sense of cold that the fire pit in the lobby couldn't touch. The whole structure radiated uncertainty and dread. Something terrible lived there. I can't do it. The inn was and still is run by a truly wonderful family. Take and her granddaughter Miwako took excellent care of Logan and I, but we're both extremely tight-lipped about the history of the ryokan. A neighbor boy, Rentaro, was able to shed a little light on the situation. Innkeeper's daughter, Kasumi, had recently died under mysterious circumstances. Ever since her death, the inn began to change rapidly for the worse. Takae had begun to worry that her daughter's Yurei was haunting the ryokan. I set up my equipment right away. Luckily, I had my entire EVP kit at the ready. Electronic voice phenomenon. Process of recording ambient room noise using very sensitive microphones in hopes of capturing the sound of the spirit world. I placed the microphones in places where I felt the greatest disturbances. The fire pit in the lobby, behind the old cherry tree in the gardens, by both baths, and in the upstairs hallways. This seems important. We should remember those locations. So, fire pit, lobby, cherry tree in the garden, the bath, and upstairs hallways. Okay. Sound travels very well into old ryokan, so my equipment picked up more conversations than usual, but nothing supernatural. At 2 a.m., however, that all changed. The lights in my room suddenly flickered and cut off. I rushed downstairs to my recorders. I couldn't hear a thing, but the readings were off the charts. Before I could listen to the audio, I saw her, pale and thin, with long black hair, dripping muddy water, moving through the shadows. Despite my experience, I froze as she slipped out of sight. I stood there in the lobby until the sun finally came up, half hoping she would reappear, and the other half desperately hoping to never see her again. Takae woke me that afternoon. We had to leave. Kasumi, she said, had changed her mind. Whatever faith Takae had in me the day before was now gone. I doubt I was the only one to see a ghost the night before. I gave her my card and told her to call me back if she ever changed her mind. I doubt she will, and I have to admit I'm a little relieved. On the bus to the temple the next morning, I reviewed the EVP tapes. What I heard sounded like 100 voices repeating a single word in Japanese. I pulled out my phrase book. The word simply meant leave. It's the kind of message you only want to hear once you're long gone. I still sometimes worry about the Shimizu family, and I can't help but wonder what it must be like for them during those long nights when the woman I saw in the shadows is awake. That's pretty cool. Ah, there. Much better. Dear Marianne, thank you for your last letter. It could not have come at a better time. My mother is making me crazy. We're beyond busy here with the festival, and she wants to fire half of the staff. Correction, she has fired half of the staff. If I ever become a weird perfectionist, smack me silly. Yumi's birthday was yesterday, and not surprisingly, there was drama. At dinner, my mother asked her if she was ready to start learning how to run at the ryokan, and this led to a fight. Everything is a sore subject with the girl these days. But lately, mentioning her running the ryokan is pretty much just picking a fight. I remember what it was like to be her age, wanting to see the world, but I never hated it here. I don't get it. I have to get back to work. Kasumi. The haunted ghost bridge. Strange things have happened on this bridge. Some people have reported hearing screams and cries from below the span. Others have reported ghostly figures looming at the end, and even others have felt a cold, tingling sensation throughout their body when crossing. No one is certain about the origin of these sightings, but the first documented case of spectral phenomenon occurred around the turn of the last century when a troop of Girl Scouts camped out there. All returned with their hair turned white. None of the frightened campers spoke a word until a year later. A year! At first, the girls just babbled incoherently or screamed or laughed. A psychiatrist specializing in traumatic experiences was asked to examine the girls, but the girls would only say one phrase: "Follow the X to the spot below." That's it? I can't turn the page? I don't think so. Judo. Oh. Masked Marauder flattens foe. Onlookers and participants alike were stunned when an unknown last-minute entry swept the competition and won the annual men's judo tournament this month. Wearing a cloth mask to conceal his identity, the winner, who identified himself only as Nineko, Japanese, impressed the capacity crowd with his quickness and control, defeating opponents well outside his weight class. Such excitement and his incredible throwing techniques will make next year's competition even more of a threat. Will the masked men return? Treatise on etiquette. the art of communicating in the method that puts the receiver at ease and elicits a feeling of comfort. Etiquette is also essentially founded on reason. When studying etiquette, one must always be on guard for incomplete and specious instruction. Just as several questionable lawyers have established many unreasonable laws, so likewise many teachers of this fine art have introduced unreasonable etiquette practice. Our main objective in etiquette is to adjust our behavior in several distinct ways. One adjustment is in our behavior towards men, women, superiors, equals, and those below us. For example, it would be downright rude to attempt to persuade a man or woman equal to us to eat against their wishes. It would be ignoble not to attempt to persuade someone lesser means to eat. Subterranean San Francisco. Explore the hidden world. What lies beneath the city? Few people know the fascinating world below the streets of San Francisco, and yet a myriad of strange and mysterious sights lie in wait in the subterranean darkness, only to be uncovered by the intrepid urban explorer. Over the past 20 years of city spelunking, I have found old mines, abandoned utility tunnels, secret rooms, and many old wells and cisterns. Careful attention must be paid when searching these lost areas to avoid accidents. A good light source, building plans, and a hard hat are a must. What's that? What's that tunnel? Labyrinth. San Francisco has gone through many changes over its 400-year-old history. The continual cycle of building, disaster, and rebuilding has created an intricate vertical record of urban development. Many of the... Oh, I can't read more? God damn it. Me. Also known as the Firebird, this mystical giant bird occurs in the legends of many cultures, including Chinese, Arabic, and American Indian. Every 500 years, the bird builds a great nest and sets it on fire to rise forth from its ashes. Wait, do they mean Native Americans? I was like, wait, Indian or American? But they're not talking about India, are they? Firebird by Edmund Dulac. Chapter 9, The Phoenix. Legends of San Francisco, city's most influential personalities. Lizzie Applegate. Is that an actual person that I don't know? Well loved by San Franciscans, both for her cultural and humanitarian contributions. Lizzie Applegate was a talented actress and songwriter who began her career entertaining miners at local gold camps. Oh. In 1880, Lizzie wrote and starred in the tremendously successful play The Bandit's Treasure, whose cast included Norma Dentvin, Lenore Scost, and Pam Doree. This initial success was followed by a string of other hits, including The Riddle of the Chinese Box, The Fire in the Phoenix Eye, and Rainbow's Gold. Fire in the Phoenix Eye seems important. Scandal, horror, outrage. Citing the increased popularity of stage reviews and decreased charitable contributions, the Ladies Protection Society has announced a shocking new strategy for raising much-needed funds for the benefits of widows and orphans. No longer will the good ladies of our society hold garden parties, afternoon teas, or cake walks to solicit contributions. Instead, these proper wives, daughters, and mothers will act on stage like common troubadours in several popular plays in order to raise money for their good works. As decent gentlemen, we should not allow the fair sex to denigrate themselves to this level of vulgarity. Women belong in the home, not upon the stage. Whew. Am I glad to live in this day and age? Bed and breakfast on the rise. B&B boom. The Bay Area has experienced an increase in the number of registered bed and breakfasts, according to Betsy Hamilton, director of the B&B Association. More and more travelers who visit our city are seeking a more personal lodging experience. The Bay Area has many alternative accommodations in addition to traditional hotels. But with the increased interest in B&Bs comes increased competition. We've actually seen decline in business over the last couple of years, says Roderick G.H. Thorson, owner of the old-time lodgings in Pacific Heights. Nearly everyone with a Victorian-style home seems to have jumped on the B&B bandwagon. Many B&Bs are marketed towards a specific clientele or offer different amenities to beat the competition. Janie Crisson of Dark Shadows Inn offers her clients a mystery dinner show. It's extremely popular and profitable when the B&B distinguishes itself from the rest of the pack, she says. Hotels that have some historical importance or even a legend attached to them are definitely the most popular. Of course. Oh, really old stuff here. Mysterious storybook. She pushed her auburn hair back behind her ear and continued the arduous work. Each pile of dirt seemed heavier than the last, and the damp night air was stifling. Somewhere in the distance, a clock struck midnight. Suddenly, the sound of metal hitting metal resounded from the bottom of the pit. Carolyn dropped to her knees and quickly dug around the dull metallic chest. Soon, the lid was uncovered, and she pried its lock open with her crowbar. Her eyes flashed as she saw the chest's contents. 1,000 pieces of gold glinted in the soft moonlight. Captain Stubing's treasure, the young heroine cried. And soon it will be mine, a gruff voice interrupted from above. Before she could react, Carolyn saw the backside of a shovel for a split second and then darkness. When she awoke, she could hear the faint chink of gold pieces hitting one another. She struggled to stand up, but found both her hands and feet tight together. She slowly moved her hand to her back pocket, but found that her penknife was gone. Looking for this? Is that my voice? Oh well, looking for this? Mr. Niles grinned, standing over her with the knife in his hand. I know how clever you are and took the liberty to remove the contents of your pocket. Please excuse the liberties I have taken. I'll do no such thing, you villain! The treasure belongs to the Stobing family, and you know it. That's cool. Old West romances. Were never found in a canyon, but it's still believed to be the route used to flee from Dylan and his mom. Mon? Lizzie Applegate and the Bandit. According to legend, the infamous masked bandit El Diablo fell madly in love with Lizzie Applegate during her years as an entertainer at gold mining camps. At the end of Lizzie's performances, El Diablo would ride his jet black steed up to the stage and leave her a bouquet of gardenias. Ooh! It was rumored that Lizzie joined El Diablo's band of thieves and was present at the Christmas gold robbery of 1878. That's cool. Ka-ching! The mastering the art of illusion. Of all the spiritualists in the turn of the century, none was as famous as Madame Aragny, noted for her spider sapphire bracelets and heavy Russian accents. In her memoirs, I Am the Spider Lady, Madame Aragny, I'm just going to say Aragny, revealed her secrets. For her, creating an atmosphere of illusion was just as important as the illusion itself. The best illusions were those that were created over a period of time or anticipated by the audience. As an illusionist, you must be aware of the influence that you have on the audience's perception of the events you create. Always establish an aura of intrigue and mystery about yourself. As you talk with your audience, try to plant the seed of illusion in the perceiver's mind. Remember, illusions are about control, and you must always strive to maintain this control. The Zodiac and You. Chinese tradition. Chinese horoscope is organized on a 12-year cycle, with each year assigned to a certain animal. While the origin of these animal signs is unclear, many believe that they were named by Buddha. Before he departed from Earth, he summoned all the animals, but only 12 came to bid him farewell. As a reward, he named a year after each one in the order that they arrived. Is really that the story behind it? First came the rat, then the ox, the tiger, rabbit, dragon, snake, horse, goat, monkey, rooster, dog, and boar. We have 12 signs today. That's number. Character for number. Diego, I've waited so long for your return, but have kept our treasure true. Herein is the tool you will need to find it. May your... Oh God, it's so hard to read. May your something never run out of luck. What is that? E. The stars and moon will shine on you as you begin your quest. Travel to the corners first. Visit all from east to west. Then journey back into the center where you will surely see the sun shine over all the land in perfect harmony. Okay, very cool. El Diablo. Not much is known about this masked bandit who plagued the Domingo Baca trail between 1875 and 1880, except for his trademark black outfit and mask. Zorro. Many legends associate him with the Great Christmas Robbery, but contemporary historians now believe the robbery was fabricated by the Stagecoach Company, since the treasure has never been found. Victorian Antiques. Hidden treasure in our homes. Mr. Oraman is an expert in the colonial history of California. He will give a seminar on treasure hunting techniques at the upcoming Fortune Hunter Expo. I have consulted and worked on the restoration of hundreds of California homesteads, ranches, haciendas, and mansions, dating as far back as the 18th century, and have always found some sort of hidden treasure. Some are quite ordinary, a stash of old tiles, a secret compartment filled with keepsakes, but others have proved to be quite extraordinary. My recent work at Los Arboles Ranch in San Frida uncovered $20,000 in gold bullion that had been hidden away during the Spanish-American War. Over the many years of my research and findings, I have developed a systematic approach to determine which habitations are prime candidates for hiding secret treasure. My dearest Elizabeth, only one soul on this great earth knows the two secrets that circle my heart. My love for you and my secret identity. Know that my intentions are the purest in all respects. Modest. I am a modest man, and all of the wealth that I have acquired by devious means are put to the best uses, all given to the poor, the misfortunate, and the defenseless. And so I am a poor, misfortunate, and defenseless man in the presence of your beauty. You have stolen my heart, dear Elizabeth, and all I ask is your hand in marriage to be mine, Diego. So El Diablo's real name was Diego. Last will and testament for the estate of Elizabeth Applegate Valdez. I, Elizabeth Valdez, do hereby make this my last will and testament to my dear friend Nellie Beecham, my black onyx necklace and earrings and the sum of $5,000, to my employee Wing, the sum of $15,000, to my cherished secretary Mabel, the sum of $10,000, and to my beloved husband Diego Valdez, the entirety of my estate, my house and its content, with the exception of the bequests above. In the event that my husband, Diego Valdez, is not located after a period of 1 year after my death or is found to be deceased, the entirety of my estate, with the exception of the bequests above, are to be liquidated, and all proceeds of said transaction are to be provided to the Ladies' Protection and Relief Society. Witnesseth this 8th day of April 1902. Wow. Our wedding day. Elizabeth Applegate, Diego Valdez.